Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
It was great to catch up with Gretchen from Concordia University, Wisconsin. I love that new clear message. Live uncommon. Makes me want to go back to school.
I know. Well, I'm a bit of a branding nerd, so she's talking all these terms, and my brain's just soaking it up.
What's another degree, really?
I've been looking. It's time for a master's sometime soon, eventually.
Should do it. Do it.
I know. I just got to pick one.
And they have
so hard to pick one.
They have kind of a redesigned new program that we're going to talk about. Is that this week or next week, too? Coming up in the near future.
That would be tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Excellent.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away everything, but they have a great new program we're going to talk about tomorrow here on the Coffee Hour. All right, hugs.
Yeah.
Either you love them or you hate them, but...
And maybe it depends on the person, too.
That's true. But they're good for you. Or, well, at least that's what I'm hearing. Our friend from the American College of Pediatricians, Dr. Michael Artigues. He's a pediatrician in Southwest Mississippi. Dr. Artigues, good morning. Welcome to the Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking some time to talk with us this morning about hugs. Are you prescribing lots of hugs today at your practice?
Oh, constantly, absolutely, and I got to live it at home too, of course. Practice what you preach, for sure.
Well, I enjoy following the American College of Pediatricians. A recent blog post about hugs and talking about the importance and are you hugging your child enough? Quite often when I think about hugs, I think, okay, they're good for us emotionally, but there were some points made in this blog that made me ask, okay, well, maybe there's more to it than just the emotional benefit. What, from your perspective as a pediatrician, what do you think or what do you see as the benefits of hugs beyond just emotionally, having that emotional support from a hug?
Sure. And of course, there's no minimizing that either. There's certainly a lot of benefit there, and anything that improves relationships, that I would certainly be for there. But there is something more. There's some good science behind the fact that we're helping to perhaps decrease stress. Actually, the stress in our lives, to kids, believe it or not, there's a good bit of stress, and there's something called cortisol that's a stress hormone, so to speak, kind of part of the fright and flight. So it has its purpose, but unfortunately, with all the stress out there, it unfortunately can also lead to, in long term, some unhealthy things. Basically, you think about your increased blood pressure and unfortunately heart disease that can relate to that. Things that aren't real important during your flight and fright. You don't have perhaps as good a memory, decreased, in fact, immune response. So some negative things there from that particular hormone, and unfortunately, so with stress, whatever we can do that kind of decreases it, I think is going to then help in some of those ways. And there's a number of different things you can do. Obviously, we talk about exercise. We promote it a lot, but it actually helps also with decreasing the cortisol. Prayer and meditation can help with that. They say laughter is the best medicine, and that's certainly also part of one of the ways you can decrease cortisol. And listening to some of your favorite music. But my favorite is the social interaction, and I think that's where hugs can come in. That kind of bonding helps as well to decrease this cortisol and therefore improve some of those health benefits.
Say laughter. Laughter helps stress.
We don't do any of that around here.
That's why this program makes me so happy. So is there something biologically that happens to the body when you hug somebody?
Well, yeah, and indeed, again, that stress hormone, that cortisol, because it is linked to all those negative things, that in a distressful situation, if you can do some things that decrease it, and hugs are one of those that indeed can decrease it, and you can almost intuitively think about that. That as you hug, you almost can feel your stress going down, and I think that's certainly true for kids. We all know there's those prickly kids sometimes too, but they need hugs as well, and probably those who, as adults, don't necessarily enjoy hugs. Maybe they didn't get them enough as kids, but it helps us as well. So I would promote it for anybody.
That would explain a lot about a few people I know.
Whoa.
No, I understand. You know, my wife and I have a 4-year-old son, and sometimes he really likes hugs, but sometimes he doesn't. But that's how we discipline with love. Like, this will work when you're 15 too. I'll just give you a big hug in front of your friends so that you won't disrespect your father in front of your friends.
That may actually increase the stress level, right? But that doesn't mean that the hug isn't important. It may be appropriate times, and we do have to feel them out. Maybe there's a bad time for it, but no doubt, even those difficult to hug teenagers are believe it or not, they want it. They just don't know it. It's like they want some limitations in their life. They just don't know that either. They'll benefit from it. And like I said, their lives are pretty stressful, so it's certainly anything that helps decrease that stress is good biologically as well as emotionally, like you said.
I'm glad you mentioned cortisol earlier. This is a hormone in our bodies, right? That it plays a key role in what waking us up in the morning and helping us be alert and awake. But if I understand correctly, we want it to kind of decrease later in the day. Is that right? So that we can rest. And
That's right.
So hugs can, and as you pointed out, too much of it or having it too frequently throughout the day can lead to some of these other problems. I, as a middle-aged man, can see the effects of that too much cortisol and what that leads to when clothes don't fit as well as they used to. So in essence, really, hugs could help me maintain my ideal weight too. Is that right?
I'm not so sure that I would go so far as to say that's the only. But again, like we talked about, having that regular exercise is another way to help drop down that cortisol. So certainly, and we know that even though you can't out-exercise a bad diet, it is still certainly part of a good, healthy day, or at least hopefully a few times a week to have that 20 to 30 minutes or so, getting that heart rate up.
So maintaining, hugs are it's kind of like a part of a complete breakfast, right?
There you go.
When we talk about nutrition, hugs, especially for kids, having hugs from parents, it causes this biological reaction, but also those emotional benefits as well. You mentioned earlier, perhaps, what may happen when a child doesn't have a lot of hugs or that affection, that physical connection with parents when they're younger. What could that lead to? That lack of interaction, that lack of hugs, or that lack of physical affection from parents?
Yeah, that whole social interaction, which I think the hugs are an important part of, but there's certainly more to it than that. Unfortunately, we're seeing nationwide some of the results of some kids who probably, it's not uncharacteristic to hear of some of these kids who resort to violence as being loners. And obviously not every child who likes to be by themselves is potentially a violent perpetrator at some point. But no doubt that social interaction, so important at that age, indeed has been linked, certainly the lack of it, I should say, has been linked to mental illness, depression, and even antisocial type behavior. So sure, I mean it's just one more thing, like you said, as part of part of that morning breakfast. One more thing to kind of help just keep us healthy. And as a child, that's just one more part of a good, healthy regimen.
So what about the parents who don't like to give hugs? Is there a way? I mean, is there a strategy or an incentive for them to be open to this idea?
Well, like you said, some people are huggers, period. And I think that's wonderful. Some people have to, as a parent, decide I'm going to do some things that are maybe not in my character. And let's face it, you sometimes have to do that as a spouse. What is the best thing for my relationship? I may not be natural at giving compliments or saying I love you or giving gifts or whatever it happens to be, as they say, that love language for your spouse, but you have to do some things that are not characteristic for yourself. It's one of the many little sacrifices we need to make as a parent in this case. And so certainly, I mean, I would say look at it as like taking medicine. Part of what you're going to do here is you're going to perhaps die a little bit to yourself and do something for somebody else. And the rewards will be there. And a lot of times they're immediate rewards. I mean, you get finished that hug, which you may have had to make yourself do, and you feel better. You see the child feel better over time. the relationship, I think it benefits, and you see somebody be a little bit closer to somebody. It's one of those few things, again, that you may have to do that's out of character, but you will definitely see some benefits from it.
I like how you appreciated that, the love language, being able to communicate, because with our 4-year-old son, he's still thinking in concrete terms, and words, are sometimes challenging. Even for me as an adult, words are difficult, and I speak for a living. But in our household, we practice forgiveness regularly. We practice, confession and forgiveness in our household. When someone does something wrong or hurts someone else, we apologize. I'm sorry that I did that. I'm sorry that I've hurt you. Can you forgive me? And then we practice those words of forgiveness. I forgive you. Not just it's okay or it's all right, but I forgive you. And that's generally followed by a hug in our household, to help confirm, to seal the deal, to help confirm especially with our 4-year-old son, so that it's more than just words that perhaps don't make sense yet, but that there's that hug there that also reassures him that he's loved and that there's forgiveness there.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe the adults it will be a handshake, but I think a hug is better for the kids for sure.
Yeah, I imagine, hugging the police officer when they let you off for a ticket might not necessarily always be a good idea. Might not bode well, but
that's right.
Well, thanks for the insights, and we'll point folks to. We'll share a link to the blog for American College of Pediatricians as well. Love the work that you're doing and helping us as parents to stay on top of keeping our kids healthy, and hugs just one more way to do that. Thanks, Dr. Artigues.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for helping promote something like this.
Dr. Michael Artigues with on the board for the American College of Pediatricians. He's a pediatrician in Southwest Mississippi. Always a great time to talk with our friends at American College of Pediatricians. Coming up tomorrow, we are going to visit with Concordia University, Wisconsin again tomorrow. We're learning about a kind of a re-envisioned program there.
Yeah.
Director of Church Ministries, is that right?
That is right.
At Concordia University, Wisconsin. A familiar voice here on KFUO.
Yes.
Keep you intrigued.
It's going to be interesting.
All right. And then next week, we're going to travel around the world with some music. Is that right?
Yes, we are.
We're going around the world.
Around the world in maybe 80 minutes. or maybe 30 or 12. I don't know.
Around the world in 80 minutes, but we'll talk with our friends from St. Paul's du Père about a great music event that's coming up there.
Yeah, I'm nerding out already.
You love music. The Coffee Hour on Worldwide KFUO. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO, the listener-supported broadcast ministry of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit kfuo.org or text KFUO to 41444. KFUO, Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.
Concordia University, Wisconsin in Mequon overlooks a half-mile of beautiful Lake Michigan shoreline. CUW campus is located 15 miles north of Milwaukee, with over 70 undergraduate majors, 28 graduate degree programs, and doctorate programs in pharmacy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and nursing practice. CUW offers online learning and accelerated learning at one of 9 Wisconsin centers and 1 in St. Louis. Traditional or accelerated education. CUW has the program for you. CUW.edu.